Hello everybody, this is Nikos, and today we're going to focus our attention on hamstring flexibility. I would advise you to go as long as you can maintain comfortable with, and when you feel tired you can take your breaks. For today's theme we're going to need two blocks, either a resistance band or a yoga strap. Maybe a pad or a cushion would be a good idea. And let's get started over with. We're gonna lie supine on our backs, keeping the band or the strap close to us. In Savasana, just for several seconds to focus our attention on the breathing. We encourage inhalation and exhalation via the nose. And we're gonna flex our feet, straighten our legs, turn the inner thighs down, elongate the four sides of the torso evenly. Supta Tadasana, supine mountain pose. We're going to get the band or the strap and we're going to flex the hip joint and we're going to place the band just underneath the balls of the foot. We're going to try to straighten the leg, and ideally it would be to have the leg vertical to the floor. But if we perceive tension at the back of the leg, just feel free to let it lower. The point is to straighten the leg, flex the foot, and grab the band as high as possible without taking the shoulder blades off your mats. Hold here for 5 breaths. You should start to feel the stretch in the back of the hamstrings and the calves. If you find it comfortable as the time passes by, feel free to grab higher and pull the shoulder blades towards the floor. Supta Panda Gustasana 1. We're going to grab both sides of the band with the same arm, the right one, and we're going to open the other arm to the left. Now, by placing emphasis on keeping the pelvis stable, we're going to abduct the hip and we're going to feel the stretch in the hamstring and in the adductor. You can feel free to turn the head towards the opposite direction. Last but not least, let's bring the foot to the center. Grab the band with the opposite arm, open the other arm, and now, without taking the pelvis off the mat, adduct the leg, and we're going to feel the stretch in the hamstring and in the abductor of the hip. Usually you cannot go too far without cheating from the pelvis. Finally, let's take the pelvis off the mat and just enjoy this nice twist. As we're twisting, try to elongate the right side of the spine and the pelvis towards the front of the mat. Then you can turn the head towards the opposite direction as well. A nice preparation for the hamstring flexibility. We're going to meet at the center, release the leg from the band and shake the legs loose. Then switch sides, flex the left hip and attach the band just underneath the balls of the foot. Ideally, as I told you previously, the hip is vertical to the floor, but if we perceive tension, we can really loosen the band or the strap. Again, since we're doing our yoga class, observe your breath. Try to maintain a nice steady breath. Grab with the same hand, the left one, open the other arm to the side and abduct the hip to the side. As long as we can maintain the pelvis in its neutral state in the transverse plane. Then you can turn the head to the opposite direction. Supta Panda Gustasana B. Let's catch up at the center, switch arms, open the other one, and without moving the pelvis in the transverse plane, just abduct the hip. You should feel the stretch inside the abductor and of course in the hamstring. When we perceive the advantage of the stretch, then let's take the pelvis off the floor and rotate it to the right. Finally, turn the head towards the opposite direction. As you twist in the spine, let's make sure that for the sake of it, we elongate the left side. And still breathe. Still breathe. We're meeting at the center. For the present movement, we're relieving the foot from the bed. Hug both knees in Upanasana and rock yourselves up and down for a couple of times so that we can meet in a seated position. We're going to stand up and we're going to perform the puppy dog at a wall that's next to us. The puppy dog is going to prepare the hamstrings for one of the most important asanas, the downward facing dog, and at the same time it's going to stretch the shoulders and encourage the thoracic opening. So I'm going at a wall near me. Place the hands on the wall and go far away from it till I perceive 90 degrees angle between the hips and the torso. Make sure that the inner thighs are facing back so that we can really avoid the unnecessary external rotation of the hips. And at the same time push the wall away so that we can feel the elongation of the spine. From here, let's go to the proper warm-up. We're going to stand all the way up and move at the front of the mat. I would advise you to keep the two blocks by your side so that you can have them when you need them. Bring both legs together in Tadasana. Distribute the weight evenly between the big toe, pinky toe, and the two corners of the heel. Straighten the legs. Activate the abdominal so that you can lift the frontal hip bones towards the navel button. And then elongate the four sides of the spine evenly. A slight external rotation of the shoulders. And then elongate the neck. From here, a couple of times we're going to modify the sun salutation, the main warm-up. And then we're going to move to the proper one. So, as we inhale, we're lifting the arms in Tadasana. And from the hips, as we exhale, we're going to Uttanasana. If we feel awkward, we can bend the knees. Inhale, go up on the fingers, Ardha Uttanasana. And as we exhale, step one by one the legs into the plank pose. Keep the whole body horizontal to the floor, parallel to the floor. Inhale to prepare, and as we exhale, bend the elbows by your sides in Taturanga Dandasana and lie prone to the mat. Point your toes back. You can feel free to walk the hands slightly back so that the elbows are forming a 90-degree angle. And by pressing the frontal hip bones against the mat, inhale, lift your baby cobra pose. Exhale towards the floor again. Now, curl your toes under. And by maintaining the stability of the core, inhale, press from Taturanga to the plank, and from the plank to the first downward facing dog of the class. Modification. If we feel awkward in the downward facing dog, which stretches the back of the hamstrings and the calves, feel free to either open the legs wider, it's going to make you feel more comfortable, or bend the knees. What we don't want to see here is rounding of the back as a compensation of the stiff hamstrings. By the end of your final exhalation, look forward and step one by one the feet in between the hands. Inhale, half Uttanasana. Exhale, bend, full Uttanasana. And with a flat back, inhale, go all the way up into Tadasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Continue from here, I'm going to upgrade it slightly. Inhale, lift the arms from the side. Exhale, bend in Uttanasana. Inhale, half Uttanasana. Step the legs back one by one in the plank pose. This time, we're gonna lean slightly forward as we inhale, and we're gonna perform the proper Taturanga. Bend the elbows in the air, press through the toes into your upward facing dog, inhale, and then curl back into the downward facing dog again. Do not focus on pressing the heels down, that's not the purpose. Straighten the arms, elongate the spine and the pelvis, and if the legs are gonna go to the floor, you're gonna go because of this action and not by walking the feet forward. By the end of your final exhalation, look forward and step again one by one the feet in between the hands. Inhale, half Uttanasana. Exhale, full Uttanasana. Inhale, lift all the way up, Utthita-sthasana. Tadasana. And now that we're ready, we may try the classic sun salutation with a jump back. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, bend, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Take the hands down and either jump or step back into Taturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Hold yourselves there for 5. And I'm just saying that if you find it difficult to perform the classic sun salutation, you can stick in with the previous variation I just demonstrated. And if you feel that you are tired, you can bend the knees to the floor and take your child's pose for a recovery. By the end of your final exhalation, let's go up on the toes, bend the knees, look forward. And by the end of your final exhalation, do jump or step all the way. Inhale into the Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale into the full Uttanasana. Inhale, lift all the way up, Utthita-sthasana. Then Tadasana. We're going to move on with the first starting poses, the one that the femur bone external rotates so that we can loosen the hips and go more in depth in the peak of the class. So I'd advise you to take a block with you. Take a step to the side so that you can parallel to the floor and open the legs as far as you can align the ankles underneath the wrists. Hold the block with your right arm. From the femur bone, from the hip joint actually, turn the right foot 90 degrees to the right. Spin the back foot slightly in and maintain the alignment of the front heel with the back arch. Keep the legs really, really straight. And from here, straighten and elongate the spine to the right, the pelvis to the opposite direction. Feel the elongation of the both sides of the spine evenly. And then take the block inside the ankle, Utthita Trikonasana, the triangle pose. What we really want to encourage here is, as I said previously, the elongation of the both sides. This is a proper triangle. This is not a proper triangle. So if you feel that you can't reach the floor and you're losing your spine, a good idea is to use a block or grab higher on the shin, but do not press the knee. 2 more breaths. We're feeling a relieving stretch in the back of the hamstrings, maybe even the spine. And now with a windmill movement, inhale, lift all the way up and turn the feet parallel again. Switch hands, and now rotate the left hip 90 degrees to the left. Spin the back foot slightly in with a heel to arch alignment. And by keeping the legs straight, elongate the spine to the left, the pelvis towards the opposite direction, and meet me in the triangle. If it's too easy to keep the highest scale of the block, you can bring it lower. Just feel free to work the props according to your needs. Also observe your breath. Is it steady? Is it natural? Or are you having a difficult time? That says a lot about the practice. From here, let's lift the spine up. Turn the feet to the center. And this time, by keeping the femurs neutrally rotated, no right, no left, keeping the inner thighs back, lift your block to the side, place the hands on the pelvis, take a deep inhalation, straighten the legs, lift the frontal hip bones, and take your chest up, And from the hips, without rounding the spine, Prasarita Padottanasana 1. Go halfway there, and if you can maintain the elongation of the spine, take the hands on the floor, take an extra inhalation, and lower the crown of the head towards the floor. Walk the hands to the ankle level. If you can take the crown of the head down by opening the legs a bit, feel free to do that for me. If it's too easy to keep the head down, narrow the distance of the 2 feet. Always remember to contract the quads, the prime movers, in order to stretch the antagonists, the hamstrings. From the Prasarita Padottanasana pose, inhale, come halfway up, look forward. Take the hands on the pelvis and lift all the way up and close, heels to toes, toes to heels, and meet me at the center. You already should feel a lighter feeling in the back of the hamstrings, right? So, now we're ready to move on more in depth. So we're going to use the second variation of the sun salutation, the Surya Namaskara B. Meet me in Tadasana. Keep the legs connected. And from the Tadasana, inhale, bend the knees, keep the weight on the heels, Utkatasana. Exhale, bend over the hips, Uttanasana. Inhale, half Uttanasana. Jump or step back into Taturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Modification. We're going to lift the right leg up as we inhale. We're going to meet at the plank, bring the knee to chest, and pass the foot in between the hands. It's very important to align the knee over the ankle and with the midfoot, with the second toe. Keep the back leg really straight. This is the lunge. Go up on the fingers so that you can elongate the chest. And from the lunge, take the back knee to the floor. If your knee is sensitive, you can place a cushion or a pad underneath the kneecap. Point your toe back and lift the arms up in the low crescent pose. You should feel a nice stretch also in the hip flexor, in the psoas muscle. As you're feeling this stretch, do remember to lift your frontal hip bones towards the navel button and straighten the arms. From the low crescent, we're going to go more in depth in the hamstring. So, again, return the hands to the floor. Pick up your 2 blocks and keep them to the right and to the left. Place the hands on the blocks. And now, step by step, slide the toes and the heels to the front till you reach the straight leg and you can feel the hamstring stretch. If it's too easy, you can lower the scale of the blocks or you can just remove the blocks. What we do not want here is to compensate by rounding the back as we stretch the hamstring. So I prefer a higher scale, since we're talking for athletes particularly, and just feel the stretch in the ham without rounding. In order to return, just slide the leg back till we approach the lunge. We're going to remove the blocks to the side. We're going to straighten the back leg and we're going to remove the pad or the cushion as well. And we're going to have a vinyasa. So, take the right leg back into the plank. Exhale into the Taturanga Dandasana. Inhale into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Then into the Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's lift the left leg up as we inhale. Take the knee to chest. Pass the foot in between the hands. And if we find it difficult, we can co-assist it with the hand. Take the knee to the floor with the use of the pad or not. And now pointing your toes back, lifting the chest up. Low crescent pose. It's very easy to chip in the low crescent by arching the lower back. So that's activating the core muscles is a nice way to lift the forehead bones up and keep the pelvis into its neutral state. Now, release the arms, take the blocks to the right and to the left, just like the other side, and begin to slide the left foot forward. Toes, heel, toes, heel, toes, heel, till we reach this nice straight leg. This is called the runner stretch. And we really encourage the hip flexion, not the core flexion. So if it's too hard, keep it there. If it's okay, just lower the degree. You should feel the stretch and you can maintain your technical stuff there as well. 2 more breaths in the runner stretch pause. And from the runner stretch, bend the knee again till you reach the lunge. Remove your blocks to the side. Straighten the back leg and remove the pod also. And meet me in the Taturanga Dandasana. Take a Vinyasa. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Hold your down dog for 5 and passively the downward facing dog should feel steadier and more comfortable, which is, in other words, the essence of the asana. 2 more breaths here. And by the end of your final exhalation, we're looking forward, bending the knees, go up on the toes. Decide either to jump or to step forward. Inhale halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend, full Uttanasana. Bend both knees, Utkatasana, chair pause. And straighten the legs into Tadasana. 1 more round into the classic variation of the second sun salutation. From here, inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Ardha Uttanasana, prepare. Jump or step back into Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Lift the right leg up as you inhale. Pass the foot through as you exhale, and at the same time, spin the back foot for the first time with heel to heel alignment. Inhale, lift yourselves into the first warrior, Virabhadrasana 1. Taturanga Dandasana, exhale. Upward facing dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, pass the foot through, in between the hands, spin the back foot with heel to heel alignment. Warrior 1, inhale. Taturanga, exhale. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. From the downward facing dog, let's step the hands back towards the back of the mat. Keeping the legs hip-width apart, inner thighs back so that we can maintain the necessary neutral rotation of the femur bones. And now, grab your big toe with the thumb, index and middle finger. In case that you're rounding the spine and you cannot maintain the elongation after these poses, of course feel free to bend the knees so that you can save your technical stuff. Otherwise, classically straighten the legs. Take an inhalation, elongate the spine, bend from the hips into the Panda Gustasana. From the Panda Gustasana, let's walk the hands forward 1 more time. Meet me in the plank. And from the plank pose, without losing this nice distance between the hands and the feet, downward facing dog. Let's lift the right leg up, inhale. Take the foot in between the hands. And now, straighten the front leg. Walk the back foot as forward as you can maintain the neutral pelvis, and spin the back foot with heel to heel alignment once again. If you take it really close to the front leg, there's not going to be any interesting adaptation here. If it's too far away, you'll lose your pelvis and you're going to be feeling unstable. So the truth is somewhere in the middle. Decide to stay with the hands on the floor after this preparation, Or if you still feel the bending of the knee or the rounding of the back, use your blocks once again. Variation of the classic Parsvottanasana pose. Do really invest not on bringing the head close to the knee, but towards the seam. This is going to facilitate the elongation of the spine and the bending of the hip, not the core. From there, elongate the spine once again. Remove your props to the side. And without any vinyasa, just meet me in the downward facing dog and see the difference between the two hips. Now, lift the left leg up as we inhale. Take the foot in between the hands. Straighten the leg. And walk the back foot a couple of steps forward and spin it with a heel to heel alignment. Try, as you're straightening the leg, to take the left glute towards the back of the mat so that the pelvis stays neutrally rotated in the transverse plane. If you also need the blocks and you use them at the previous side, do the same thing here. We want to keep the body in balance. So what I'm doing in the one side, I'm doing it on the other side, although both legs differ in all people, in all athletes, in all practitioners. From here, we're going to remove the blocks away again. Meet back in the downward facing dog and shake the legs loose. Re-straighten the legs. Feel the difference in the downward facing dog compared to the star. And again, let's walk the hands back and decide to either perform again the Panda Gustasana, drop the big toe, or if you feel ready for that, take both hands underneath the soles of the foot. Tadasana. Inhale, elongate, and bend from the hips. We're at the peak of the class, and soon we're going to have the cool down. So, look forward. Take the hands off the feet. Place the hands on the pelvis, and from the crown of the head, lift all the way up. The next asana is going to be the more difficult, considering the hamstrings. It's going to be a modified standing splits, and we're going to use the wall for that. So, what are we going to do? We're going to measure the distance that we have to stay far away from the wall. We're going to have a sit facing the wall, and we're going to place the soles of the feet against the wall. So we have a good picture of the length of the legs. We're going to place the hands at the point that the sit bones end. So turn 180 degrees the other way. Place the hands shoulder width apart, just like the downward facing dog. Perform a downward facing dog by keeping the toes underneath and the heels on the wall. The wall will have the action of pushing us far away, but we're still pushing in our T-spine in the chest. We are going to bend the left leg, and we're going to climb it and slide it towards the ceiling. There's gonna be a tendency of the femur to twist. Try to avoid this. Turn the inner thigh back as we did in previous asanas and stay in the modified standing split. Decide to stay here, or if you feel comfortable, slide far away with straight leg and maybe take a step with the front foot, with the right foot forward, and press the heel down. You should feel the stretch in the hamstring and in the calf. Now from here, take again the right foot on the wall, release the left leg, and switch. Bend the right knee, slide it up, maintain the neutral rotation of the femur, and decide to either stay here and press, or walk the heel forward and press the heel down. Modified standing split. Again, walk the left foot on the wall, the heel, actually. Release the right leg. Walk the feet forward and take a soft Uttanasana. And notice the difference between the two hamstrings compared to the start once again. Take the hands on the pelvis and from the crown of the head lift all the way up. Shake the legs loose. And to end up the practice, let's have a sit on the floor. The blueprint of the seated practice is the Dandasana, the staff pose. Some people think that yoga is just stretching. It's not just stretching, it's active stretching. So I'm not sitting like I'm just gonna do my stretching. I'm gonna work the quads, turn the inner thighs down. Try to press through the sit bones to the crown of the head. Press the earth and the earth rebounds back. And if we still feel that the hamstrings are tight and we either bend the knees or rounding the spine as an effect, as a consequence, we have to use the pad or the cushion one more time in order to reduce the stress that we perceive. So this would be the idea. From the Dandasana, we are going to bend the right hip, externally rotate, same leg, and from here, we're going to move to the Janusarsasana. As we perform the standing asanas, we avoid the rounding of the spine. We want to encourage the elongation of the spine and the bending from the hip. So if we find it awkward, again, a good idea would be to use either the band or the strap. Place it like the start underneath the balls of the foot. Keep the spine open. Inhale. And now by bending from the hip, this is the head to knee pause. If it's too easy, walk the hands forward. If it's really easy, grab the foot. If we want to increase the effect of the stretch, we can use the block in front of the balls of the foot. And by giving this external leverage, we can go more in depth. Let's inhale, elongate the spine. Stand all the way up. Release the bent leg. Meet me in the starting point, in the Dandasana. And let's use the other leg. Bend the left one. Externally rotate it. If you decided to use the band or the block or anything, do the same thing in this side as well. Take an inhalation, elongate the spine. And as you exhale, let's enter the pause. It's too easy, grab the foot. We want to increase the effect of the stretch. Use something to have an external level. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, lift everything up. Release the leg. Meet me Dandasana. And now we're going to open the legs. We're going to abduct them around 100, 110 degrees. So if that's the 91, let's take it further. Open. Activate the quads. Either we're sitting on the pad or on the floor. And keep the integrity of the spine. If we suffer from hamstring and adductor stiffness, a good idea would be to place the hands behind us and just keep the spine steady. Or if we find it easy, we can use the band or the strap and take it in front of the balls of the foot of the right leg. So, like this. Straighten the spine, twist the chest to the right, inhale, and bend over the right leg. As we're bending over the leg, keep the opposite sit bone either on the cushion or on the floor. If it's too easy, again, we can grab the foot or we can use the block. This is a variation of the Upavista Konasana. the Ekapada Upavista Konasana. It's too easy, we can go even deeper, but without losing our foundation. Elongate the spine with inhalation and stand up with the exhalation. Switch legs, either with a band or not. Place it there. Keep the foundation strong and solid. Turn the chest to the left. Inhale and bend from the hips. Ekapada Upavista Konasana. It's too easy. Grab the foot. You can use a block just like we did in the head to knee pause. Keep the opposite side of the pelvis stable on the floor. Now, from here, inhale, elongate the spine. Stand all the way up. Grab underneath the knee joint. And with caution, close both legs together. In Dandasana, just like we started. And let's see the final stretch, maybe the kink of the seated forward bends, the Paschimottanasana, stretch for the west pose because it stretches everything that it's in the back. So, keep the sit bones stable, either on the pad or on the mat. Keep the spine steady. You can use, of course, the strap or the band if you perceived difficulty in the previous asanas because it's going to be the same and maybe more here. Inhale, and by placing emphasis in the flexion from the hips, Paschimottanasana, you can stay here. If you find it comfortable, you can grab the feet, or if you want to go more in depth, you can again use your blocks and take your Paschimottanasana. I would highly advise to go as far as you can maintain the elongation of the spine rather than doing this. Restraighten the spine. Go all the way up. And just to relieve the spine from all these bends, let's have a twist. Bend the right knee close to your chest. Keep the spine steady and long. Try not to reach backwards. Hook the left elbow on the right knee and place the right hand just behind the sacrum. Take an extra inhalation. Elongate from the sit bones to the crown of the head. And as you exhale, rotate to the right. Every inhalation we elongate. Every exhalation we rotate. Inhale, turn the head to the original position. And as you exhale, release the twist and the leg. Switch legs for me. Bring it close to the chest. As close as you can maintain the elongation of the spine. Take the left hand behind the sacrum as an external lever to add the elongation of the spine and hook the right elbow just in front of the kneecap. Inhale, elongate the spine. Exhale, rotate the spine. Every inhalation we elongate. Every exhalation we rotate. A modified Marichyasana seat. Inhale, turn the head to the front. Then release the asana. Shake the legs loose. We're done. I would advise you to take at least a 5-minute savasana. Enjoy your stretches, enjoy your practice. I hope this helps your sports, particularly if you perceive, resistance in the back of the legs. And see you soon. Namaste.